Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Here is Deck Building DC Crisis Expansion 1. So what the big pull for this one is going to be, it's going to add some more characters and make the game cooperative, which perhaps with this theme it should have been in the first place. So what we're going to have here is the rule book. Lots of black here. You can see Crisis mode set up if you want to play in that. Contents with no pictures, but I think that's fine for a game like this. I just wish the backs were there. And it kind of goes through if you want to play solo mode, here you go. And you can set the different difficulty levels and the supervillains and some the competitive play, which is included in here. So it's going to be a new thing. And some keyword definitions that you're going to need throughout and a small little fact. Pretty good. I mean, if you played the base game, you should be fine with this. Inside the box, you're going to get a deck of cards. You'll probably just throw this out and keep the original that you're going to have in here. So first thing you're going to see is you're going to get some new characters to play as. We'll take a look at these cards, and we'll see what we think about them. With the green arrow, once during each of your turns, you may discard a punch card. If you do, you pay 2 less to defeat a villain or supervillain. Robin, the first time a card tells you to draw a card during each of your turns, you may instead put an equipment from your discard pile into your hand. Zatara, once during each of your turns, you may put a card with a cost 1 or greater from your hand to the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Constantine, once during each of your turns, reveal the top card of your deck. If the cost is 1 or greater, you may play it and it has a +1 power. If you do, destroy it at the end of your turn. Swamp Thing, during your turn, you are considered to control each location, the lineup, and in play. Animal Man, during each of your turns, if you have played 3 or more different card types, +2 power. Green Lantern, when a player is attacked, you may discard 3 cards. If you do that, player avoids the attack. Cyborg, during each of your turns, if you have played a superpower and equipment, you may put a card with 1 or greater from any play discard on the bottom of the main deck. Martian Manhunter, once during each of your turns, if you have played 2 or more heroes, choose a player. That player may put a hero from his discard pile on top of his deck. Batman, during each of his turns, if you play 2 or more equipment, you may choose a player. The player discards his hand, draws 1 fewer card. Superman, once during each of your turns, if you play 7 or greater cost worth of superpowers, choose a player. That player draws a card. The Flash, you go first. Once during each of your turns, if you have played 8 or more cards, choose a player. That player draws a card. When you buy or gain a card with cost 5 or less during your turn, you may place it into any player's discard pile. And Wonder Woman, when you buy or gain a villain from the lineup, choose a player. That player may destroy a vulnerability or weakness in his hand. So a lot of these are neat. Now, if you want more heroes, this is a place to come get a whole bunch in one little spot. They all help cooperatively, which is the new mode put into this. A lot of helping other people as you're going through. So that's a very neat touch to this game. And the cooperative mode has some issues, and some of the issues will be that it moves slow. A lot of turns you're not doing very much, and you're really just kind of building up and helping each other out. But you do get a bunch of heroes with them. Then you're going to get your deck of villain or supervillains for a possible mode. Crisis Anti-Monitor, Ra's al Ghul, Black Manta, Captain Cold, Darkseid, Deathstroke, Sinestro, the Joker, awesome picture by the way, Otro Citrus, Lex Luthor, Brainiac, Hades, and finally Parallax. So those will be the villains that you're able to get, and they do have a nice impossible mode on them, which will help with playability. Now the other deck of cards are going to be your Crisis cards that will be included, and these are kind of things that you have to beat as you go through. So we'll look at Death in the Family. At the start of your turn, destroy a hero in the lineup. To beat each player must destroy a defense card in his hand. So it's a little thing. If you can't do it, you can't move on. An alternate reality. So you're going to have quite a few of these. Arkham Breakout, which will be the one that you'll start with. Atlantis Attacks. Collapsing Parallel Worlds. Dimension Shift. To beat, each player reveals a top card of his deck. That player reveals a card with cost exactly 2. Remove this crisis. So very, very situational. Electromagnetic Pulse. Final Countdown. Identity Crisis. That's a neat one. To beat, each player must discard +6 power worth of cards in their hand, then flip your superhero card face up. Kryptonite Meteor, Legion of Doom, Rise of the Rot, Untouchable Villain, and Wave of Terror, and World Domination. So these are things that you have to do. There'll be a number of these that you have to complete in order to progress in the game in the crisis mode, which you're trying to beat cooperatively. These are very neat. I mean, there's a lot of different ones, like there's Sinestro, untouchable villains, a Legion of Doom that comes together. So some very neat things that are in here. Lastly, going to get a deck of cards here. Get some Quiver of Arrows, a Bow Staff, Signature Trench Coat for him, America's Corset. So there's a bunch of these. Here's Animal Man that will come in as a hero, Constantine. You're going to get some new locations, the House of Mystery, the Rot, and some flight cards with superpowers and stuff that will be in. Strife is going to be the new villain, Killer Frost, Psycho Pirate, and Avatar of the Rot. So this is a little bit smaller box. I mean, you might like the artwork. If you're completionist, you'll keep the box and everything. But really, you can just ditch this box and put it in the main box and get rid of that useless insert, to be honest. This is going to add a cooperative mode. So if you always wanted the cooperative mode, it plays 1 to 5. So there is a solo mode also. But if you ever wanted to play this game cooperative, this will definitely put that in. And it redoes a lot of the heroes, so they can be used in the cooperative mode with a little bit more powers and or cooperative in nature. The crisis mode is neat. I think that's a selling point. The upgrades. So this can be played in one of two ways. It can upgrade your game and give you additional things. In addition, it can add that cooperative mode. The cooperative mode is a little slow. It's a little wonky. You can tell the game wasn't designed for, but that's something you're looking for. For some reason you like Marvel, Legendary, and you'd rather play DC because DC is your thing, this will accomplish it for you. Very neat expansion. I'm glad that they put something out like this. I actually enjoy this. I like the kind of building up aspect of it. So for me, this is a good one. I'm purging it because I'm not going to keep the DC deck building. I'm not really a DC fan. The game's a little too simplistic for me, but this is a good expansion if you're into the series.